This is Derek with Vice Realty. Today I was going to make something a little more positive, and then some things happened the last day, and I just thought I might as well share them like I'm sharing the other stuff, because I'm still astonished at how many people just don't know what's going on. So let me share with you what's really going on. None of this stuff is stuff I've read. None of this stuff is things that someone told me. These are all things I experienced firsthand myself. None of this is some weird conspiracy thing that I read in some far-off tabloid. These are real things that are actually happening. The first one is we put up video cameras on a unit that we manage. The reason we did this on the outside of the building, the reason we did this is because one of the tenants is just an absolute nightmare. She's attacked the landscaper. She has dogs she does not pick up after. She had, at last count, 57 visitors in 1 week to the unit. Now, maybe she just has a whole lot of friends. But in my experience, when 57 people a week come to your place, it's because you're doing things there you shouldn't be doing. Now, she also says she runs a business out of there, which is also not allowed by the lease. You can't do that. So the reason we put up cameras is to get her on lease violations so that we can remove her from the property. And we have to have proof. The court will not take our word for it. They will take the tenant's word for it. The tenant just has to say, that's not true, I didn't do it. The court says, okay. The burden of proof is on the landlord. So I need the cameras, which are perfectly legal, to put up. She filed a police report against us for putting up cameras to watch her. It's not to watch her, it's to watch the whole building. And the police, who don't help me with anything, the police who, when I call them when someone is breaking into a unit, either show up 2 or 3 hours later or don't show up at all. And when they do show up, they don't do anything to these people. They just ask them kindly to leave. No one has ever, I'm not exaggerating, ever been arrested when we've had police come remove people from one of the units they've broken into. And it happens every single day. Again, not an exaggeration. Every single day, someone breaks into one of these units, and we either try to remove them ourselves, or sometimes we call the police because they just refuse to leave, and the police show up. If they're willing to even help us at all, which is rare, if they are, then they will ask them kindly to leave. Usually what they say is, that's a civil matter, take it up with the court. Insanity. So this same police department that does nothing for me as a landlord and as a manager of property has now decided to take up the case of this poor tenant who we put cameras on the building who thinks it shouldn't happen. So they asked us to fill out a report on why we have cameras on the building, and they wanted copies of the videos. Pretty ridiculous. I'm busy, but we did it anyway. Well, they sent us another email this morning, and today is April 7th, I believe. Anyway, they sent us an email this morning saying we need more. We need copies of the back camera footage too. We need more footage because we need to make sure that you're not harassing this person. Are you kidding? This is my building. I want to put cameras on the outside. Have you been to a grocery store lately? Have you been to a department store lately? Have you went around and looked at the street corners? There's cameras everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's cameras. Somehow, I can't put cameras on my own building now? Are you kidding? This has gotten so nuts. That's the first thing. The second thing that happened, I was at a meeting at the bank yesterday, and I'm talking to the private banker and then their financial whoever that says, here's what you should invest in and stuff like that. Well, they come over and we're talking about properties and real estate and why I'm selling my properties. And I just said, I mean, do you want to buy a restaurant today that you can't charge for food? Because that's the business I'm in. I own buildings, I can't charge rent. And they said, well, what do you mean they have all this government money they're giving to landlords? Landlords get paid. Like, no, they don't. That's insane. No, they don't. And she said, well, but you're in forbearance. You don't have to pay a mortgage. That's not true. I said, that only is for owner-occupied places. That's not just for everybody. That's for your own personal home. She goes, let me check on that. I never knew that. So she runs back, comes back 2 minutes later. She goes, oh my God. She goes, how are these landlords surviving then? Exactly. They're not. They're going into debt. They're selling off their assets. They're selling their properties. They're cutting into savings. They are not surviving. And the funny thing about forbearance, even if you get it on, let's say, your personal house, the government who says you're so distressed that we have to give you concessions for paying your bills, but the property taxes are still due. Don't forget to pay those. We're not taking a cut as the government, just you are. Crazy stuff. So I'm going through all the rules with these bankers on what it's like to get a tenant out, how they get to live for free. Basically, if the tenant makes less than $100,000 a year for any reason whatsoever, they don't have to pay their rent. Any reason. 6 Ferraris in the driveway, doesn't matter. $50 million in the bank, doesn't matter. You make less than $100,000 a year, don't pay the rent. And they just couldn't believe it. They were stunned. They're like, I can't believe that's actually going on. Well, everybody I run into, it seems like, can't believe it's going on. It is going on. Today, every day, it happens. So again, today I thought I would have a little positive message and I would say something that was a little uplifting about properties or stuff. And I am going to do some stuff like that. I don't want this to all be like, oh God, the world's ending. But as these things happen and I run into people that say, oh my God, I had no idea that's happening, it's so frustrating to me because I guess nobody's really talking about that. They don't hear the other side of it and all the dreadful things that are happening, all the things that are pro-tenant in every way whatsoever, and none of them, zero, are pro-landlord. Here in Nevada, apparently the state received all this funding to pay landlords. They're still having trouble. They can't figure out how to get them paid. But the tenant is the one that has to apply for the money. The tenant has to apply to pay the landlord. That makes no sense. So when they had the PPP come out, did they make the employees of the company apply on behalf of the company, or did the company just get to apply directly? Because that's what they're doing here. They're making my tenants apply on my behalf. Why would they bother? They don't need to do anything. They have no repercussion for not paying me a dime. Zero. I can't affect any part of their life. Why do they want to go out of their way to fill out anything for me? Now, I promise you, if there was a free iPhone attached to it, or if they got $200 for it, they would absolutely go do it. Like, oh, let's fill it out. Let's get some more free stuff. But when it comes to just doing the right thing, no. There will be a few people, for sure, that do it. For sure. The majority, absolutely not. Last time when this came out, we had 300 different people we gave the paperwork to and the packet and asked to fill out. We had less than 5. Less than 5 actually do it. We started offering money to people to do it. One new guy came and said, okay, well, I'll do it. Well, he was already paying his rent. So that was just out money, but whatever. It's not going to happen. Landlords are not going to get paid. And that's not on accident. It's not. Because when they want to give out stimulus money, somehow stimulus money arrives just like that. But the landlords, it's just too difficult. It's such a cumbersome process. We just don't know. We're so backed up. I don't know. So anyway, that's it for now. I will continue to do this. I will let you know everything that's going on. And I really do. I want to throw some positive things in there sometimes. So I'm going to do that for sure. We'll look at some buildings. We'll go around. It'll be normal stuff too. But this stuff's just so frustrating. I just feel like I got to share it. So I'm going to keep sharing it.